Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Talking Sports. I'm one of your hosts, Miles Schild. My co host, Andrew's having some technical difficulties, so he will be with us in a bit. Obviously, for those of you who listen to the podcast whenever you can, you hear that I am in Green Bay at the draft. I was at it last night. It was an insane time. I actually met someone pretty big, but I'll save that for when Andrew's on. I know it wasn't planned to do Uno Sode. This isn't an Uno Sode. Once Andrew gets his technical difficulties figured out, then he'll be on. But let's just recap some of the big moments that happened during the draft. Well, number one, you obviously got Cam Ward going number one overall. It was very predictable. I said that in my mock draft. And the second big thing that we should mention here is Travis Hunter going number two. And everyone expected him to go number two, but everyone thought he would go to the Cleveland Browns. That obviously was not the case for those of you who were watching. He went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Crazy move. I was, so starstruck when I saw Travis Hunter before the draft. So this was before the draft started. There was a band called Generation Z. They were playing, during commercial breaks and stuff. And while they were playing one of their songs, all of a sudden you see this guy with his hot pink suit walk out. He's got a hot pink suit jacket, and he starts dancing in the middle of this band right before the draft. It's Travis Hunter. I don't know if they showed it on TV, but Travis Hunter came out of the tunnel on the draft stage to start dancing with the band because he heard the music back in the green room. That guy is just, he's so cool. Love everything, he's doing. But he ended up going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville obviously gives up a lot. They gave up their first round, which is the 5th overall pick, to the Browns. They gave up their 2nd and 3rd round picks. They gave up next year's 1st round picks and some later picks. I don't really have the details. Andrew's kind of more the numbers guy. But I thought it was just crazy that, they felt they had a generational player in Travis Hunter, and they may have one. I'm not going to say he is or isn't. He's great. He's just a great guy, you want on your team. And obviously the Browns ended up trading down. They got Mason Graham. So that was, I don't know. We kind of, all the people I was around, when I say we were all thinking Ashton Jeanty would go to the Browns. Hey, Nick Chubb replacement. That didn't happen. Jeanty goes to the Raiders, where he belongs. And then you got the Chicago Bears taking Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. And Tyler Warren was supposed to go to the Jets. I'm telling you that right now. He should have gone to the Jets. They took Armand Membu. Armand Membu's good. But Tyler Warren, you just passed up on a top tight end. You did this last year too. The Jets passed up on Brock Bowers, right? Now you just passed up on Tyler Warren. Now you're going to go see him dominate in Indianapolis with the Colts. And, I think the Jets made a stupid move. They made a stupid move. You know who didn't make a stupid move, though? The Green Bay Packers, man. You should have seen what was going on live at Green Bay. Matthew Golden gets drafted. Everyone's holding their breaths, right? Because, people are thinking, oh my gosh, what are the Seahawks, Buccaneers, all these teams that could take the Chargers were the pick right before the Packers. People are like, are they going to take a receiver here? No, they took Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, who the Denver Broncos passed on, which it was not expected by any of the analysts. But you should have seen it. Matthew Golden comes out in his gold suit, He's so happy to be here. I mean, he was so hyped. And then after he gets drafted, he comes out, takes a picture with the commish, and then goes up to the stand. No one goes up to the stand. No, like the draft picks don't do that. He goes up. He has this little speech about how happy he is to be in Green Bay, right? And then he goes into the audience. He goes down the path. There was a stage in the middle of all the fans, and he goes down it. He stands on, gets his phone out, does a little like IG live, and he's like hyping up the crowd and doing all that, giving high fives. It was the coolest moment. It was, the crowd erupted once Mark Murphy, who was the guy who announced it, said, with the first time since 2002. I mean, everyone was so hyped. It was a great time. I had Shedeur Sanders, man. That was, I wouldn't say a shocker, but it was a shocker. Because the guy was saying, hey, I'm going top 5, man. I know what I'm doing. I'm the best player here, whatever. He did it. He didn't even go first round. He fell to the second round, and it's going to be, I expect round 2 to start off mad. I think there's going to be people trying to trade up for Shedeur. I don't know. But from what I'm hearing is they don't like his ego, his personality. They think for how big his ego is, he's not that good. So I think that was crazy. Jackson Dart, my guy, Jackson Dart, got drafted by the New York Giants after they traded back up. Some people are saying, Jackson Dart's not that guy. I love Jackson Dart. You get, in my opinion, 2 generational talents in Abdul Carter, and then you get Jackson Dart. You are sitting good. I don't expect the Giants to win. All right, I'm going to say that right now. Unless they bring in, I think they need to bring in a wide receiver here. Maybe a Luther Burden would be good. But they did, actually, never mind that, because they traded their second round pick to Houston to move up to get Jackson Dart. So I think there's a few different things that the Giants can do just to make their team a little bit better. Maybe bring in a guy like Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen just to give more targets to whoever your quarterback is, whether it's going to be Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, Russell Wilson, or Tommy DeVito. Actually, I think Tommy DeVito will end up getting cut by the end of, by the cut days. And I think Russell Wilson, I got a bold prediction here, Russell Wilson will be traded by the trade deadline. I think they'll be moving on. Jackson Dart will shock everyone, moving on from Russell Wilson because he'll have, in my opinion, I think he'll have more value than Jameis Winston will. So it'll be interesting to see what they have. Moving back a little bit, I forgot to mention the Carolina Panthers pick, which was Territo and McMillan. It wasn't really expected, but I love the pick. I love that Territo McMillan that went there. Obviously as a Packer fan, it would have been nice to get him, but I'm much more happy with Matthew Golden than I thought I'd be. The guy loves Green Bay. He loves Green Bay. And he's just, he just seemed like a really good guy to have on the team. He's 6 foot, yes, but for those of you who are like, is he too short? Like, we don't need another slot. Jamar Chase is 6 foot. Like, I'm not worried about it at all. Matthew Golden's going to be our guy. He's going to be the top receiver for the Packers for years to come. I'm super excited today at the draft, actually. One of our other famous Packer receivers, Jordy Nelson, is going to be, signing autographs. Oh, wait. Andrew, is that you? You're on air right now.
Sorry, what?
You're on air right now with everyone, Andrew.
Oh, what's up, dude?
All right. So I started the episode. I just started, so I was just going over some of the surprising things that happened. But how you doing? What do you think about the draft, Andrew?
I thought it was very entertaining. It was one of the first NFL drafts I've watched in a little while, but I was very excited to watch it, and there's definitely some surprises, but I thought it was one of the better first rounds I've watched in a little while.
Yeah, I would completely agree. So I want to get your opinion on my guy Jackson Dart going to the Giants and them taking Jackson Dart over Shador Sanders.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I think I liked how the broadcasters talked about how the Giants valued Jackson Dart and how Brian Daboll like that he had more traits that were more like Josh Allen from the time he worked in Buffalo. So I definitely thought that was a little interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from what I'm hearing now, because everyone likes to keep what they're gonna do during the draft under wraps. Um, it sounds like things are starting to unwrap about Shador Sanders and how his personality is really a red flag. He's super cocky. He's not as good as he thinks he is. Those are not guys that you want to lead your team. And that would definitely make sense why the Steelers passed him up at 21 and took Derek Harmon out of Oregon instead. Because, I mean, you look at it, George Pickens, DK Metcalf, and Shador Sanders in the same room may not be a great idea. Now, that may not stop them from getting him in the second round, but I think they'll probably go Jalen Milroe, and maybe the Browns at 33 will take Shador, but I'm not sure. Actually, I was gonna make a little bit of announcement. You know who I met. Andrew found this out because I sent him a picture. I met NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. It was
Yeah,
pretty cool to meet
yeah.
him, and I got
I'm
to
so
shit.
jealous, dude. I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous, dude. I had plans to go to the draft with you guys, but I had a conflicting schedule with another event, and I couldn't go. I was so disappointed. And when I saw you had that picture, I was. Oh, I can't describe how jealous I was at that point. I still am. But I'm so happy that you got to go to the draft and meet Roger Goodell. And I told my mom this. With any luck, 23 years later, the draft will be back in Green Bay. So I bet I'll be able to go then. So I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was. I don't know. Could you hear like on the TV like the when the Bears were picking the Bears still suck chants?
I did hear the Bears still suck, Trent. I did hear all the booing though,
Yeah,
because
it was loud.
Mel Kiper couldn't shut up, and just I only heard boo, boo, boo. It's just I was kind of frustrated that I didn't hear the Bears still suck. I did see the Clay Matthews, the Bears still suck thing.
Oh, that was the
That was
funniest
really good.
part. That was one of the
Yes.
best parts of the draft right
Yeah.
there. That was hilarious. But yeah, so it was when the Bears came up and picked, it was Bears still suck chants loud, and then they started talking about the Bears guy who died, and then we had to stop booing and stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Oof.
moving back to the draft aspect of it, what are you thinking second round? There's a lot of big trades in the beginning that are going to be impacting the beginning part of the second round. But at the 33rd pick, the Cleveland Browns have that pick. Do you see them taking a quarterback there?
That's a tough call. I think they passed on a quarterback and they traded back in the first round. So I mean, uh, I think that they will take a quarterback. I do expect they'll probably take a Jalen Milroe because I just don't see them realistically spending a pick on Shador Sanders when realistically Shador Sanders may be a NFL ready starter. And yeah, they have Joe Flacco and what was Kenny Pickett? Sorry. I feel like that the Browns they have two NFL capable quarterbacks. They honestly might tank for uh, Arch Manning next year.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I mean they got two quarterbacks that are still left with Jalen Milroe and Shador Sanders. I
Oh,
think that they'll probably take Milroe just because Milroe is a little more of a project and they can wait him out a little bit.
yeah. Oh, they also have Tyler Shuck is also on the board, but just because of his age, he probably won't be the guy the Browns take.
Yeah, it probably won't happen for Tyler Shuck. Seems like a great player, great guy. It's just probably not going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone in the audience was all chanting Shador because everyone wanted him to go before the Packers pick, because everyone knows the more quarterbacks taken before the Packers pick, the less skilled players taken. There are there are people, Packers fans all around, are hoping that the Packers trade up to get Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan. What do you think about this?
If they do that, I will be very surprised and very happy. I like Will Johnson. I think that, of course, the injury is going to hurt him. In the short term, I definitely think it will hurt him. Long term, probably will hurt him as well. But I think if the Packers can develop him and improve his conditioning and some of the things that he may lose out on because of that injury, the Packers may get a really nice corner. And I heard Tom Grossi talking about this on a little podcast episode of his this morning. He was really liking the Matthew Golden pick, and he liked what Goody and Mark Murphy said about not having their first-round picks being immediate impact players, because the Packers are really good at developing players. Not necessarily the first-round picks. We've seen that over the past couple of years, but especially the later-round picks. And I think that could be a good recipe for success if they do take a Will Johnson, because the Packers could develop him into something really good.
Yeah, and I think everyone's really focused on his injury. And yes, that's kind of like you said, short term, that's going to hurt him. But here's where I'm thinking different. I'm thinking long term, that guy he combats that injury. He tosses that injury out the door and becomes one of the top corners in the league. Because if you think about that, before the injury, there's rumors he was going top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if the Packers can do anything, they should move up for Will Johnson. Because otherwise, if they stay at their spot, I'm hoping edge Landon Jackson out of Arkansas. I really like him. Max Crosby type player, but edges aren't really what I'm looking for here, because Van Ness. I've been hard on Van Ness, but I want to see him. He needs to be a starter, in my opinion. It's got to be Van Ness starting.
He does.
You don't use a 13 overall pick and not have that guy start. You've had time to develop him. He needs to get a chance. But if you draft a second round edge, I don't think he gets that chance. So I want to see the Packers doing everything they can to get Will Johnson. I actually thought it was interesting because Maxwell Harrison went before Will Johnson. And Maxwell Harrison became one of my mom's favorite players because he hugged and shook hands with every player that came out. And she's like, "Oh, who's that guy in the blue suit? Why is he not getting picked?" And I kept telling her, "Mom, he's going to a team like the Bills. He's gonna get drafted late first round." And he did. He went to the Bills. But it was definitely, I was happy with the way the first round of the NFL draft turned out. I think the biggest shocker to me was probably the Jaguars' move and getting Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah, definitely. 100%.
But, I mean, that guy was so happy when he got drafted by Jacksonville. And let me tell you why. Number one, he loves fishing. Where can you go fishing and get some real good fish? Florida. All right. Number two, Cleveland. His career would have died in Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns right now are the second biggest graveyard for players. Number one, obviously, is the Chicago Bears. Colston Loveland, you're gone. Sorry, you don't have a career anymore. But I'm feeling like Travis Hunter could change that organization for the better. And I'm super excited to see what happens. I think part of me wants to say Shedeur Sanders falling out of the first round was the biggest shocker. But the other part of me kind of thought this might have happened just because of the little pieces that we were hearing that maybe he's not who we all think he is. And that's I thought it was interesting because the Giants a few days ago just had a personal one-on-one workout with Shedeur in Colorado, making everyone think they were going to take a quarterback. And from what it sounded like, the team was torn on Shedeur Sanders or no quarterback. And it turns out they were bluffing. They weren't going to take Shedeur. And I thought it was very interesting. An NFL GM, an anonymous NFL GM or whatever, said Shedeur is one of the cockiest players he's ever met. He blames everything on his teammates, and he's not as good as he thinks he is. And to me, that makes me think it might have been the Giants GM. Because if they just spent time with him and they were torn on him then, and that is how they perceived him, I mean, that is a bad statement for Shedeur Sanders. And that makes sense why he wasn't at the green room. Didn't want to be humiliated for this first round. And, do you think Shedeur goes top second round, mid second round, late second round, or third round?
I think that he does go in the top second round. I think that he actually could go to one of the Browns' 2 picks, the 33rd pick and the 36th pick. I know I just said that Jalen Milroe could go before Shedeur. The more I think about it, it doesn't make sense because, the Browns, I remember that Joe Flacco is old. Kenny Pickett is not great. And then they really don't have another quarterback after that. So, they probably do want a starter at this point. But the Browns could totally go 2 ways. Either they take Shedeur or they just don't take him and ride with Flacco or Pickett. And just so they can tank for Arch Manning or another quarterback next year. Besides that, I don't see any other teams that could take Shedeur Sanders, maybe other than the New Orleans Saints at 40.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's not looking good for Shedeur.
Yeah.
He definitely will get taken in the second round. It's just I don't know where.
Yeah.
Because some teams going to be bold and just crazy and take him at this point.
Yeah, so I have a few questions for you. First question, who do you think is going to have the biggest impact? What player who just got drafted first round is going to have the biggest impact on the team that he was drafted?
I think that, I'm looking at Tyler Warren for the Colts. I got a lot of family that lives in Indiana, and they love their tight ends. They love their tight ends in Indianapolis, and they haven't had a tight end for a little while. So I think that Tyler Warren in the Colts might be a big impact player. I'm also looking at Ashton G&T for the Raiders. The Raiders need a hard-running running back, and Pete Carroll loves his big-bodied running backs. I point to Marshawn Lloyd.
Yeah.
And looking at everybody else, one of the top 4 picks, Will Campbell, Carter, Hunter, or Ward, will definitely make an impact. Yeah. And besides that, I don't really see anybody else besides those guys making a big impact. Maybe Jahad Campbell for the Eagles, going out of Bama, one of the Eagles that picked 31. I think that will be a pretty big pick. I'm surprised he kind of fell that far. I thought the Buccaneers were going to take him.
Oh yeah, I thought he would go way earlier than that.
Yeah, but they scooped up Egbuka from us. They took Egbuka from us, man. That sucks.
Yeah. The more I was thinking about it, though, I'm like, I'm wanting Golden over Egbuka. I was kind of hoping, hey, if Egbuka goes, it's making it clearer that the Packers should take Golden. But I thought it was insane that the Packers had the choice to go Will Johnson or Matthew Golden.
Yeah, I'm looking at Egbuka, though. The only downside to Matthew Golden is he's on a little smaller side, and the Packers do like some big body receivers. And without Christian Watson for maybe the first half of the season, we're going to be lacking that department.
Yeah.
But the thing that makes up for it, Matthew Golden has really good separation skills. He's got a lot of speed, and he's a really good route runner. He's smooth when he does that.
Right.
So I think that makes up for his lack of size, though I would have liked Egbuka because I do like his hands and his catching ability and his size a little bit more. But I think it's a 1-for-1 pick there, getting Golden or Egbuka, so I don't really mind it that much.
Yeah, and I think, to me, my impact player would probably be, Jahad Campbell, because we've seen what the Eagles could do with their linebackers. Zach Bond, that is going to be the scariest linebacking group. I think Malachi Starks to the Ravens, kind of like Jahad Campbell. they have already a star at that position. Now you got two. Like Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks together is gonna be scary. It's gonna be scary.
I was
And
looking at James. Oh, sorry.
no, go.
Oh, I was going to mention James Pierce Jr. going to the Falcons at 26. So the Falcons traded back up into the first round with the Rams, and I think the Rams really kind of botched it a little bit here because they lost out on someone like James Pierce Jr. He's a big guy, but he was really quick at this 40. I mean, you were raving about him to me when we were watching the cornerbacks, and you're like going, oh my gosh, this James Pierce Jr. kid going crazy so quick. I mean, that's going to be. I think that the Rams kind of shot themselves in the foot with that one. Well, the other guy I want to
go.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
I was thinking. I'm just surprised that Mark Green out of Marshall is still on the board, man.
Mike Green,
I can't believe that he's on there.
Mike Green, yeah, he is. He'll be a top second round pick, but I think to me the Rams thought might have been Jackson Dart. I think they didn't expect the Giants to trade up in front of them and grab Dart. And that's what messed them up, and they ended up trading down. And, James Pierce Jr. is going to be a real good edge. I'm telling you that right now. But, Andrew, what team do you think had the best draft? If you could give best and worst and give them a letter grade, who do you think it is? Which teams?
I'm definitely going to go out and say that the Browns probably had the worst draft. I don't know, because trading back and getting Mason Graham, I don't know if that's the best pick, but they're definitely there. The Bears definitely botched their pick. They got a good tight end. Colson Loveland is really good. I'm not gonna mess him up in any way, but they definitely could have taken Tyler Warren, which they kind of botched that a little bit. So one of those two definitely had the worst draft. Best one probably either goes to the Giants, which is weird to say, or the Jaguars getting Travis Hunter. I think I am going to lean towards the Jaguars here. I know that the Giants made 2 picks, and they gave up a lot to give Jackson Dart, and they got Abdul Carter at number 3. But the Jaguars trading up to number 2 to get Travis Hunter is absolutely insane. I was not expecting it. I heard Schefter talking about it during the broadcast. He said, the Browns are in discussion right now, and I'm saying, no, they're bluffing. They're not going to do it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Go ahead and do it. It was crazy. Yeah. I like the Jaguars draft a lot. I think they had the best draft, or the first round draft out of anybody, and then Bears are who was the other one I said? Browns. Bears or Browns. Yeah. One of those two had the worst draft, in my opinion. What about you?
Well, it's hard. As a Packers fan and seeing the players that my NFC North rivals picked, I was so happy. I think I think all three, the Vikings, Lions, and Bears, all messed up their picks. So I will say them all got the worst. So the NFC North, except for the Packers, had bad drafts. Maybe the Browns. I feel like Ashton Jeanty, even though maybe you don't need him, he would have been an impact player for you.
Yeah.
And you would have, but they did get all those picks, so that would be the only reason why I wouldn't say they had the worst. I would probably have to go Bears had the worst draft. Just all around disappointing. Well, actually, super exciting. Me and my dad there were cheering. We loved the Bears after that pick. After we just were all chanting, "Bears still suck." But for the best pick, I would have to agree with you. Jaguars and Giants probably had the best. I'd go Giants just because I'm such a big Abdul Carter, Jackson Dart believer, and I think those two are going to maybe not turn around your franchise right away, but will be the face of a new era for the New York Giants.
Yeah, I agree. The Giants definitely got a good reload here, and they have a chance to be competitive with already Jackson Dart, Jameis Winston, and Russell Wilson in that quarterback room. So I think the Giants do have a chance to be semi-competitive this year.
Yeah. Anything else you got to say before we wrap it up, Andrew?
I definitely am looking at some of the players still available for later today. And some of the guys like Mike Green, Luther Burden, Will Johnson, Nick Emenwari out of South Carolina, Shedeur Sanders, those kind of guys, those are going to be humongous steals for the first 5 picks in round 2.
Definitely.
Because I don't see a way where maybe the Browns don't take one of them. I mean, the Texans, don't take one of those guys because they do need O-line help, and they didn't get an O-lineman. But Browns have 2 of the first 5 picks, and then the Raiders and Titans have a pick. The Bears have 2 picks right after all of them. And, yeah, I think the second round is going to be definitely interesting, especially to open up. And with so many good players still left who definitely could have been in the first round, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where they go in the second round today.
Yeah, and Adam Schefter said the second round is going to be more. The teams are looking more at the second round than they are for the first round, which I thought was insane. But
yeah,
we're creeping up. We're at that 30-minute mark, so we should probably end it. I'll be at the second and third round today. Also going to the drone show after the third round, so that's going to be a little bit of excitement there. But thank you everyone for listening. It's been great. Me and Andrew are having a lot of fun doing all these draft talks with you. Keep listening to our shows. See you guys.